Take a look at his fight on paper. Nate the Savage Smith, 6 wins, 9 losses in his amateur MMA career, 21 years old, fighting out of Omaha, Nebraska. To our knowledge, he is an independent fighter. Delfino Benetiz, 8 wins, 5 losses, just 23 years old, fighting out of North Platte. And as I believe I believe Delfino training at 6'9", one-on-one combat at this time. So we'll wait for Delfino as he gets prepped to come into the cage as his opponent, Nate the Savage Smith, awaits Delfino's entrance. And now both fighters in the cage, and that means we head to our cage announcer, Mike Kendall, for our official fighter introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds in the MCF Amateur Flyweight Division. It is brought to you by Noble Refrigeration. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. This Jungle Boogie style fighter stands 5'6", weighing in at 129.6 pounds, holding an amateur record, 6 wins, 7 defeats. Training out of Skywalker 101. And making his way from Omaha by way of Chicago, Illinois, Nate the Savage Smith. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of the blue corner, is a striker standing 5'6", weighed in at 125.4 pounds, holding an amateur record, 9 wins, 4 defeats, training out of 6'9", one-on-one combat center, and fighting out of Grand Island, Nebraska, Delfino Benetiz.
And our official fighter introductions are out of the way, and we are ready to go. Second fight on our main card tonight, Nate the Savage Smith. Jungle Boogie, the fighting style for Smith out of Skywalker 101. Fighting out Omaha by way of Chicago, Illinois. His opponent, Delfino Benetiz, the 6'9" one-on-one combat fighter from here in North Platte. And you see the talking going on early here as Nate the Savage Smith talking to Delfino right away here in round number 1 as Delfino takes the middle of the cage. And both fighters kind of size each other up here. Again, Benetiz 9-4 in his MMA career. Nate Smith 6-7 as a strike there from Smith. Not sure if that was more of a slip from Delfino, but nonetheless followed with a strike and a nice leg kick there by Delfino Benetiz. Delfino, as we said, fought in the World Amateur Championships in Las Vegas, Nevada, a tournament that saw North Platte's own Braden Erdman earn a $100,000 professional mixed martial arts contract. And like I said, Delfino in that tournament as well had a good showing, got himself a victory. But right now he's squaring off with Nate Smith out of Skywalker 101 in Omaha. Smith in the white trunks, Benetiz in the black and red as they go down right in front of our broadcast position here. And Nate Smith quickly goes into the full guard of Delfino Benetiz, trying to posture up. Delfino, and a side control, quick move to side control there, and an elbow landed by Nate Smith. Nate the Savage Smith working to get that guillotine choke. Again, submissions have been the name of the game tonight. All fights stopped by submission with the exception of 2, which were stopped by knockouts. All fights ended early, and a great job by Delfino Benetiz to get out of that. The attempted guillotine by Nate the Savage Smith, but Benetiz able to fight off the hands and separate. Now takes the center of the cage again. Delfino Benetiz in the black and red trunks. Nate the Savage Smith in the white trunks. Benetiz out of 6'9" one-on-one combat in North Platte, and the Savage Nate Smith out of Skywalker 101 MMA in Omaha, Nebraska. Once again, we see Nate Smith get the takedown and go into the full guard of Delfino Benetiz. Unable to do a whole lot of damage out of the guard the first time we saw him in this position, but we did see him transition into an attempted guillotine choke, that which Delfino Benetiz was able to escape from. But again, we see Benetiz stacked up against the cage, able to reverse out of it, but quickly back into the full guard goes Nate the Savage Smith, and a quick attempt at an armbar there by Delfino Benetiz, but Smith having nothing to do with it and steps out of it. And I believe we had a kick to the face on a downed fighter, and I believe that's the case. Kicked him in the head, not intentional by the Savage. As we see the referee talk to Nate the Savage Smith, again, I don't believe that was intentional, but a kick to a downed opponent to the side of the head, which did cause a cut to the side of Delfino's head, which is bleeding heavily, as you see the fighters give the high five in the middle. and they're right back at it. But Delfino Benitez cut badly by that kick to the head, and the blood pouring. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this as the referee takes a quick look at it. We did see the Savage get a warning, but Delfino Benitez trying for the guillotine choke. He, though, is not, as I try to look at the monitor here, I was going to say side control awful hard to pull off that submission from, but round number 1 comes to an end with Delfino Benitez and Nate the Savage Smith. Fairly even round. We did have the warning issued to Nate the Savage Smith for kicking a downed opponent to the head. And as I stated, that did cut Delfino Benitez. We'll take a look at it here as we see Delfino down on the ground, and there it is. And again, I believe the kick attempted to be thrown to the body but landed to the head. Obviously not a legal move. You cannot kick a downed opponent in the head or face. And Benitez getting a little time to recover after that. But again, a cut suffered to the side of the head. You can see Dr. Jason Sitta, the ringside physician there in your picture, working on that cut, trying to get this bleeding slowed down, and feels confident that he did. Just a warning issued by the referee to Nate the Savage Smith, though. No points taken away for the kick to the head. But again, a very dangerous move, and I think right there a fine example of why mixed martial arts rules do not allow the kick to the head of a downed opponent. About ready to go here, round number 2. Delfino Benitez in the black and red trunks. His opponent, Nate the Savage Smith, in the white trunks. Smith out of Skywalker 101 in Omaha, Nebraska, and Benitez out of 6'9" one-on-one combat right here in North Platte. And here we go, round number 2 underway. The fighters meet in the middle. Nate Smith in the white trunks, Delfino Benitez in the black with red trim. And a nice knee up the middle, but Delfino Benitez able to grab a hold of the leg and lets it go. And then an elbow thrown by Nate the Savage Smith, which appeared to land to the left side of the head. A high kick there blocked by Delfino Benitez. But Nate the Savage Smith very quick with his strikes and his kicks. And we've seen several land on Delfino Benitez, like that one to the body, and another one, and another one. Kicks to the body. Nate Smith seems to be happy to find his distance with those kicks, and then we see what we saw right there. He comes in with an elbow or sometimes a combo strike. Delfino Benitez, though, happy to stand right in the middle and still trying to find his range, I think, here in round number 2 of this fight against Nate the Savage Smith. MCF 12 live from the DNN Event Center, North Platte, Nebraska, live on MMAFutures.com. Delfino Benitez in the black and red trunks and Nate the Savage Smith in the white trunks. Round number 2 in this fight. If you see the cut to the side of the head of Delfino Benitez, that was suffered from an illegal kick to the head, but the cut on his forehead was not. That was caused by a vicious elbow by Nate the Savage Smith, who continues to rain down on Delfino Benitez, who's backed up against the cage, bleeding heavily. The referee may want to take a look at that cut on the forehead of Delfino Benitez. But again, the cut on the side of the head opened with an illegal kick to the head of a downed opponent. The elbow, though, opens up the cut on the forehead, and Delfino Benitez fights off Nate Smith, and they are back in the middle of the ring trading. Delfino Benitez taken down by Nate Smith, but Delfino quickly back into a dominant position, and he'll see if he can't do something. Trouble seeing, though, as you see the blood running into the eyes of Delfino Benitez. You gotta believe that Delfino fighting blind right now. The referee taking a quick look, not only at Delfino Benitez, but at ringside physician Jason Sitta to see if he thinks we need to take a look at this cut. But we're not stopping now, as we now see Nate the Savage Smith fully mounted on the back of Delfino Benitez, sinking in the Lion Killer, and there it is. One more rear naked choke submission victory. Nate the Savage Smith defeats Delfino Benitez. The rear naked choke, as we've said, has been the story of the night. All but 2 fights tonight have ended by submission rear naked choke, and Delfino Benitez, a battle there as we take a look at the replay and what ended it. You see Delfino get the dominant position, but quickly reversed by Nate the Savage Smith, and you'll see him take the back here, and this will quickly transition into a rear naked choke. And that is how we see the fight end in round number 2. The win goes to Nate the Savage Smith, who improves to 7-7 in his amateur MMA career. Round 2 by rear naked choke. The victory goes to Nate the Savage Smith from Skywalker 101 out of Omaha, Nebraska, as the ringside physician, Dr. Jason Sitta, tends to Delfino Benetiz, trying to get that bleeding under control here before we go to our official decision with our cage announcer, Mike Kendall. And again, an interesting round 1 as Delfino Benetiz on his back, and a kick to the head delivered by Nate the Savage Smith caused a cut on the side of Delfino Benitez's head, but that not a problem, quickly brought under control in between rounds by our cage side physician. But then in round number 2, fairly early, an elbow opens up a cut on the forehead of Delfino Benetiz. That blood running down into his eye, and you gotta believe that that impacted the way that he was able to see and continue to fight. And Nate the Savage Smith ends it. And round number 2, I have not gotten an official time yet, but we'll get that to you. But rear naked choke, the reason for the referee stoppage. Here's cage side announcer Mike Kendall.
Ladies and gentlemen, your referee, Big Fitz, calls a stop to the fight. 2 minutes, 33 seconds in the second round for your winner. By tap out into rear naked choke, Nate the Savage Smith.